Hi everyone, I'm Mike Hewson, and I'm excited to be your judge for the Shamrock Shakedown UKI Agility Trial at McCann Dogs. I have designed some fun courses for you and your dog to run, and I can't wait to have a front row seat to all the action. I just want to go over a few things before the trial. Please feel free to reach out with any additional questions after watching this video. Collars. Your dog can only wear one collar while running. This may not have anything dangling or protruding from it. If your dog wears a Seresto collar, that would count as your one collar. And your dog also can run without a collar. You must leave your leash at the start line, and the leash runner will take it to the designated location at the exit. You can also bring a toy into the ring, but again, it has to stay with the leash, and the leash runner will take it to the designated area. If either the leash or the toy stays with you when you go to lead out, that would be considered an elimination, and you may not be able to continue your run. In UKI, you may start your dog in a traditional lead out, or what we call a slingshot lead out, where your dog essentially would be set up. All of the courses this weekend are starting on a jump. You would set your dog up on the landing side of the jump and essentially start your dog with a backside approach. As long as the dog takes the correct side to start the timers and keeps the bar up, you're good to go and you can continue the run. Please wait for the go on the timing system before you start your run. Do not look for my thumbs up, as my thumbs up is telling the timer that I am ready to judge the next dog. If you are unsure of if you have heard go, just take a second to look at the timer or me if I'm close enough, and we will let you know if the go has been given. If you go and start your run before go has been given, you will be eliminated and will not be able to continue your run. This is how the open judges, so we are going to adhere to the open rules. NFC are not for competition. Please announce this verbally or by raising a toy and shaking it so I can see it, or both. If NFC is not declared before the run and you go ahead and start training your dog, this would be an elimination and you may not be able to continue training your dog for your NFC run that was not announced. You will have an allotted time to bring in a toy. The toy needs to be unaudible and cannot make any noise. You cannot bring any food into the ring. Now, if you have a dog that likes a lotus ball, please show me before the beginning of the class, because if it's too caked with food, I will not let you use it. But if it's okay, I might let you use it, but please just let me check that toy so I can give you the okay or the not okay. With UKI, you can pre-place the toy, you can throw the toy, you can reward the dog out of your hand. You can also bring in helpers to help you strategically reinforce your dog at many points on the course. You don't have to do the course in order. You can make up your own course. Just make sure it is safe for your dog, especially the contact approaches. You may not put anything on the equipment. So for example, you cannot use a mat or a stride regulator on the contacts. You can use a target plate, for example, but it needs to be on the ground. You just can't physically put anything on the equipment to alter the equipment itself to aid the dog. Once you hear the buzzer on your NFC run, please go right to the exit. Do not continue running your dog. Sometimes it is quicker to continue the sequence you're on and just go to the exit. That is fine, but do not start something additional, because this is a big trial and we need to keep the show rolling in a timely fashion. So please go to the exit as soon as you hear that buzzer. Please do your best to enter and exit the ring in a timely manner. I will brief the gate steward when I would like the dogs to enter the ring. Each class will be different, so make sure you listen to the gate steward's directions for each run. Repeat and move on. If you go off course or your dog drops a bar, you may stop your run and go ahead and you can replace the bar and start a couple obstacles before for flow. You may do the sequence once more, and after you've done that, you can either continue the course as numbered, or you can leave and go reward your dog. You only get one repeat and move on effort in each run. If you end up trying to do another or your second repeat and move on, I will whistle you off and you need to leave the ring immediately. Once your dog is done, please find your leash and or toy in the designated location in the exit chute, and then please exit out the side door where you can go ahead and reward your dog as much as you would like. A few additional notes, since there are many beginner dogs, this is super exciting. It's great that UKI is growing in this area. With beginners, there are no refusals judged. That is different than the other 3 levels of novice, senior, and champ, where 3 refusals would be an elimination. For beginners, you don't have refusals at all. However, you do get faults, which would be missed contacts and dropped bars, and obviously you can get an elimination for going off course. No one can get away from that. So when performing the weave pulls, a fault can be earned when the dog enters the weave pulls correctly, but then the dog pops out at any point of the performance of the weave pulls. At that point, every level, beginner, novice, senior, and champ, would incur a 5-point fault. Now you have the choice of going back and fixing the performance, which would not be considered a repeat and move on effort. It would just be completing the performance correctly. If you do not complete that performance and hit the next obstacle, that would now be considered an elimination because you did not perform the obstacle correctly of the weave pulls. That means that you technically didn't complete the performance. Refusals on the weave pulls, again, this is not for beginners. If your dog goes by the weave pulls, just get them back, set them up successfully to get the weave pulls done, and then hopefully they complete all 12 and you can continue on. That is not the case for novice, senior, and champ. If your dog misses the entry of the weave pulls, then that would be a refusal. If they enter in the wrong spot, it's a refusal. Again, the 3 refusal rule does continue to go, and you can get an elimination by getting 3 refusals on the weave pulls. With popping out of the weaves, I just want to mention this, you only get 1 5-point fault on the weave pulls. You want to think about it as a dropped bar. A dog can only drop a bar on one jump once. So you can only get 1 fault on the weave pulls if they pop out. So it's important that you just go ahead and pop them back in the weaves if you would like, if that's something your dog would be okay with. If not, just keep going and make them happy. For the seesaw or the teeter, whatever you may call it, the dog must remain in contact with the down plank or when it hits the ground with at least 1 foot in the yellow. If the seesaw hits the ground and your dog is not in full contact with that yellow part of the contact zone and then leaves and does not have any part of a toe in that yellow, that would be a 5-point fault that hasn't incurred because you have not completed the satisfactory performance for UKI. If you have a fly off, or a Superman I like to call it, then your dog would receive a 5-point fault. Now, then it is your decision if you would like to go back and fix that performance. In this case, it would be a repeat and move on effort. If your dog has the board go down and then they are not in the yellow but scooches down into the yellow, then they're good and they can go ahead and continue on without any faults. But again, if you have a fly off, if your dog, again, leaves the board just slightly before the board actually hits the teeter or the ground, or if your dog hits the ground with the board and the back feet come off and back on, that would be considered an off course and that would be an elimination. But again, the fly offs, the missed contacts, those would be faults. And lastly, just please pay attention to the worker schedule that will be posted. Many hands make light work. I appreciate all the help in advance. And lastly, remember to have fun with your dogs. Again, any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. I wish everyone the best of luck and see you on the turf.